Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to formally deliver the opening remarks and to set the tone for today's proceeding, may I respectfully invite Mr. Bernard Tan, APP Sustainability Committee Chairman, to share his message and officially open this important event. Mr. Bernard Tan, the floor is yours.
Selamat pagi, Papa, Ibu. Good morning, Your Excellencies, honored guests. Welcome. It's wonderful to see so many of you here today as APP embarks on a new significant phase in its sustainability journey. And I appreciate the time that everyone has taken to attend this event. The world is clearly facing a climate crisis. We know that Indonesia represents ground zero in our fight against climate change. Indonesia is home to some of the most biodiverse tropical forests on the planet. These ecosystems are critical. They regulate our climate, support millions of livelihoods, are essential to the global response against climate change. At APP, given our significant presence in Indonesia, we recognize not only how deeply our business is connected to those ecosystems, but that the fight to take care of these fragile systems is a significant part of our responsibility. In 2013, APP was the first major company in Indonesia to announce a forest conservation policy. This policy pledged to end deforestation and expansion on peatland in its supply chain. At that time, it was a landmark change. But our example led many other companies in Indonesia to follow our example, making the same pledges in subsequent years. Once again, in 2025, APP is intending to lead the way. We are taking another major step forward in another landmark policy, as we commit for the first time to a forest-positive policy. It's not enough to do no harm. It's time to do good. APP is proud to announce the commitment to conserve and restore 1 million hectares of landscape ecosystems across our value chain, ensuring positive ecological and biodiversity outcomes through sustainable landscape management and active restoration. This will be underpinned by an ambitious pledge of $30 million annually over the next decade to actually achieve these outcomes. Now, APP will continue with its commitments to empower communities, uphold human rights, care for people through inclusive development and labor practices across our value chain. We will do this through responsible supplier management and customer engagement. And we will also carry on facilitating alternative sustainable livelihoods through our landmark community program called the DMPA. In a first, we will also be setting up a dedicated independent unit to deliver on conservation and restoration. We will also be setting up an independent advisory panel of experts to guide us on this journey. We will also have rigorous monitoring and enforcement systems to ensure compliance, robust stakeholder engagement from indigenous groups to local communities on the ground, to global technical experts, certification bodies, with capacity building programs for smallholders and suppliers. Our policy has also been designed to align with recognized frameworks around the world, including EUDR, as well as AFI. This will support our efforts also under the FSC remedy framework, and we are hopeful that our actions will act as catalysts for partnerships to amplify our efforts to deliver on our ambitions. This policy has been developed over 24 months. It has been deliberate. We've asked ourselves thoughtful questions and deliberated at length on the formulation of this policy. We've learned from past experience and translated this into a new policy in the wider Regenesis framework. We know that true restoration isn't just about planting trees. It's about ensuring that forests endure for generations. It's about having secure licenses, land tenure to ensure permanence. It's about ensuring communities have an incentive to keep trees standing through sustainable livelihoods, and more importantly, the income opportunities that carbon markets will provide. It's about companies like us stepping forward, underwriting this effort, taking responsibility, putting real investments into conservation and restoration, and working hand in hand with partners. I want us to pause and reflect on what makes this moment unique. The Forest Positive policy is not only a primer, it's a commitment unlike no other, not just in Indonesia, but given the scale of what we are attempting, it's significant globally. And like what we have done before, we hope that the steps taken by APP today will inspire other companies in Indonesia, and more importantly, the world to follow suit. We're very excited on this landmark policy, and we're glad to bring you along this journey. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings of peace to all of us. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Greetings of virtue to the management of Asia Pulp and Paper Group, stakeholders, representatives from central and local governments, development partners, academics, NGOs, and all the distinguished guests. I would also like to express my appreciation and gratitude to the representatives from the embassies and financial institution partners joining us today. First of all, we appreciate the launch of the APP Group's policy, which confirms its commitment to three main pillars: forest, people, and value chain. Distinguished guests, I commend the APP Group for its sustainability commitment and mainstream its three pillars to address challenges in Indonesia. It should guide the implementation of forestry practices, which is vital to uphold Indonesia's role as the third largest tropical forest in the world, as well as home to one of the largest mega biodiversity country. The Ministry of Forestry has identified several key challenges in improving the performance of forest business and forest-based industries, which are the fragmentation of forest production areas, which creates high risk of deforestation, the slow implementation of the multi-business forestry policy despite its great potential, and continuous challenges in social issues, particularly low quality of partnership between business and communities. These challenges must be addressed with strong collaboration and strategic intervention from all parties. Ladies and gentlemen, we valued APP's commitment to zero deforestation, especially the policy for no longer exploiting natural forests and to protect forests with high conservation and carbon value. However, it is important to ensure consistency between commitment and on-the-ground implementation. Various technologies and innovations should not come short in addressing complex multi-dimension issues. Our policy to address issues of deforestation and habitat fragmentation will include many consolidation steps which we require all businesses to comply. We highlight the improvement of business ecosystem health, in which all stakeholders along the supply chains and communities should collaborate in a mutual respect environment. We also commend APP's focus on the well-being of communities living around concession areas. The Indonesian government encourages businesses to become centers of growth that empower local communities. The presence of PBPH or business permit holders should have a positive trickle-down effect on regional development, especially by improving community welfare through serious implementation of concession partnerships and collaboration. With the current low rate of partnerships, we want PBPH to participate in accelerating their implementation. True partnerships models based on rights and fair dispute resolution must be implemented immediately to address ongoing land conflicts. We also appreciate the importance of a globally competitive and sustainable forestry industry. The paradigm of forest management in Indonesia has shifted from a purely timber-based model to a multi-business forestry approach. This policy aims to encourage the diversification of forest use, including non-timber forest products and environmental services like ecotourism and carbon. Multi-usaha kehutanan is considered key to increasing non-tax state revenue in the forestry sector and contributing to the national GDP, which is currently very low at only 0.6%. This policy also offers a great opportunity for permit holders to add value without needing new permits, while also avoiding government-mandated permit cancellations. However, the realization of multi-usaha kehutanan has been very slow. The scheme was designed to make permit holders highly innovative and agile, so it's crucial to take advantage of this policy immediately to optimize every holder's performance. It is hoped that through this pillar, APP can help overcome the challenges and obstacles in accelerating multi-usaha kehutanan or forestry multi-business. Distinguished guests, sustainable forest management depends on the strength of policy, consistent implementation, high ability to tackle complex challenges, and build trust with all stakeholders. Sustainable forest management is still haunted by market distortion, suboptimal business architecture, and high risk of ineffective governance. As a regulator, the Ministry of Forestry welcomes the APP Group's initiative and has high expectation for the group to overcome those challenges and to become the prime mover for sustainable forest management, governance, and role model. The company must continue to practice good forest management in accordance with regulations and be oriented towards fair partnerships with the community. In closing, I invite the APP Group and all stakeholders to continue collaborating to create productive, sustainable, and inclusive forest management for a sustainable future for Indonesia's forests and to support the well-being of its people. With a shared commitment, I am confident that we can achieve the vision, sustainable forests, prosperous communities, and a sustainable forestry industry. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
These extraordinary landscapes are home to some of the richest biodiversity on the planet. They provide livelihoods to millions and are central to the cultural identity and survival of countless indigenous and local communities. Their protection is not optional, it is essential. As one of the world's largest tropical forest nations, Indonesia has a pivotal role to play in the global response to climate change. And at APP, we recognize that we too have a responsibility and an opportunity to be part of the solution. Regenesis, restoring nature, empowering communities, and driving responsible growth. Regenesis is APP's ambition for a sustainable future. It is our commitment to conserving and restoring the forests and biodiversity that underpin our business, while also managing carbon, driving innovation, empowering communities with an inclusive approach, and fostering partnerships. Our new Forest Positive policy marks the first step of Regenesis and the next phase of our sustainability journey. It integrates forest stewardship and people more deeply into every corner of our business, across all of APP's operations, subsidiaries, and suppliers around the world. Our forest positive approach goes beyond conservation. It is a commitment to a future where forests, biodiversity, and people thrive together. This policy is structured around 3 core pillars. Having already developed a catalog of native species and piloted restoration areas, we're now scaling up our efforts by identifying larger areas with the highest potential for restoration and expanding our impact across critical landscapes. We will safeguard existing ecosystems and rehabilitate degraded areas. We recognize that upholding human rights and engaging stakeholders in an inclusive way are essential to our operations. That's why we're committed to creating an environment that respects human rights across our operations and value chain. Sustainability doesn't end at our operations. It must extend through our entire value chain. That's why we will be setting best practice requirements for suppliers, offering incentives and technical support, engaging a wide variety of stakeholders transparently, and aligning our monitoring and reporting with global sustainability standards. We are guided by data, driven by people, and grounded in a vision for a better today and tomorrow. Our goal is to create shared value for nature, climate, and people across our value chain through responsible supplier management and customer engagement. By working closely with our partners, we ensure that sustainability is embedded across every link from sourcing to production to delivery. We have a candid understanding of our past and clear vision for our future. Our journey hasn't always been smooth, but we are committed to evolving, improving, and embedding what we've learned into all future decision-making. We're not starting from zero. Together with our suppliers, we have been deforestation-free since 2013. We've invested in flagship livelihood programs and built the foundations for restoration. We are building on our progress to date. Through Regenesis, we are continuing our journey to more sustainable business operations. Join us on the journey as we work towards a more sustainable future.
We come together today at a moment of great urgency and great possibility. The need for bold action on climate change and forest conservation has never been more critical. The world's tropical rainforests are at the heart of both this challenge and opportunity. As we know, Indonesia is one of the key landscapes of the world. Indonesia Raya, Indonesia Satu. So for APP, forest ecosystems are not only essential to the planet, they are key material to our business. They are the very foundation of what we do, both as a resource and responsibility. With our operational scale, long-term presence, and reach across the fiber value chain, we have the capacity to drive real, lasting change and scaling up the impact to have wider reach. That's why we're proud to launch Regenesis, our new sustainability ambition. And today, we are introducing the first major initiative under Regenesis, our forest positive policy. APP's forest policy demonstrates our commitment for responsible forestry. Building on the foundation of our forest conservation policy, the forest positive policy reflects years of behind-the-scenes progress. We are not starting from zero. We are building on our progress to date whilst also preparing setting clear goals for future. We are looking to 2050 and using the progress map and lesson learned to guide our path. Let us have a look at what we have achieved to date against our Sustainability Roadmap Vision 2030. In terms of forestry activities, these are major strides over the past decade. Here are some highlights. As of 2024, stated in our sustainability report, we have maintaining almost 90% of nature forests in good condition of 600,000 hectare conservation areas. Based on the government regulation, we have restoring 99% of critical peat dump within our supply chain. Developing restoration methodology, which includes evidencing on all-round increase the critical species monitored in our concession across APP on concession and our long-term suppliers. On top of our progress, we've seen improvement in our production operation with a steady increase in renewable fuel use with a share almost 60%, including our Oki mill in South Sumatra, almost 100% using biomass. And last year, we've been submitted our target under Science-Based Target Initiative and has been approved. People, of course, at the heart of what we do. Through our flagship livelihood program, the MPA, we are currently supporting 459 villages, which total more than 88,000 people benefiting from this livelihood program. Later on, we have selected some of our products from the MPA as part of your souvenir. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. So these achievements are some of the milestones in our sustainability journey so far, and we are excited to mark a new one today. Again, the forest positive policy is the next phase of APP sustainability journey. These are the 6 key features of the reflex, a move from zero harm to doing more good. First, conservation and restoration 1 million landscape ecosystem, pledge 30 million annually, establishment of independent restoration unit which be underpinned by clear, actionable, and implementation plans. A framework for accountability and transparency that spans all APP operation. We will establish an independent advisory panel. In line with the global frameworks, no deforestation after 2020 with objective expanding wider positive impacts and a strengthened grievance mechanism system. Our forest positive approach goes beyond conservation. It is a commitment to a future in which forests, biodiversity, and people thrive together. We are adopting a holistic, data-driven, and collaborative approach to conserve, restore, and responsibly manage wider landscape with partners while delivering measurable environmental and social impacts. These key features are all under 3 core pillars: forest, people, and value chain. I will explain one by one for each pillar. First, about forests. Again, 1 million hectares conservation and restoration commitment of landscape ecosystem across value chains. We are going beyond simply protecting the landscape. We are now committing to positive ecological and biodiversity outcomes by preserving critical habitats, supporting rare, threatened, and endangered species, and managing ecosystem responsibly through capacity building, research, and programs of communities inclusive and wetland restoration within the landscape collaboratively. These are the targeted area in the regions: Bukit 30 Landscape Jambi, Riau Wetland Heritage, as well as Giam Siak Kecil Landscape, where APP and its supplier are majority within the buffer zone of the Biosphere Reserve, South Sumatra Mangrove Landscape, and Region Kalimantan for Orangutan Conservation Area. We are looking and continue engaging some strategic partner to ensure that we are doing it right from the beginning. and we will resulting positive for future generation. People. APP is committed to empowering indigenous people and local communities by integrating socio-economic development with forest protection. By proactively engaging our suppliers and partners, we strengthen the third pillar of our sustainability vision of creating positive shared value across the entire value chain. This elevating sustainable livelihoods project that improve village prosperity, respecting indigenous rights, ensuring free prior informed consent, and preventing land dispute. We will respect human rights in line with the UN Guiding Principle, business and human rights, improve due diligence, and ensure access to grievance mechanism where necessary. The third pillar, value chain. We will drive policy implementation by setting best practice for supplier requirement, offering incentive, and providing expert technical support. Our goal is to create positive shared value for nature, climate, and people across our value chain through responsible supplier management and customer engagement. By working closely with our partners, we ensure the sustainability is embedded across every link, from sourcing to production to delivery to our customer. To ensure the successful implementation of forest positive policy and bring both existing and new suppliers along this journey, we are strengthening our supplier evaluation risk assessment, or what we call SERA Plus. This enhanced tool will require all new suppliers of APP to be deforestation-free after 2020, enabling us to expand our conservation and restoration initiative with community included while supporting our commitments under FSC remedy framework. The forest positive policy is just beginning. Forest stewardship has always been material to our business and impact and will continue to be so. Next year, we will strengthen our people and production policies in line with the Regenesis and global standards. We'll back this with transparent stakeholder engagement and ongoing monitoring and reporting. We realize that we cannot do it alone. In order to scale up, co-creating public-private community partnership will be vital to ensure lasting change. We will work closely with both internal and external stakeholders, including our government, co-creating a shared vision that aligns with international framework and support both Indonesia's and global sustainability goals. Over the next 24 months, we will develop sub-goals with clear metrics and performance indicators to ensure we can track our progress and measure our success way to 2050. We are deeply grateful to our partners, our communities, and all those who have supported APP, internal and external, on this journey. This is call to action. Together, we build a future where forests, people, and business grow in harmony and to be resilient. Thank you.
And I would like to also invite Mr. Alonso Martin Gomez Villa, Church of the Affairs of the Republic of Mexico. The symbol of the Lestari. It shows our commitment on sustainability and conservation. Thank you so much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to invite for the directors of, I would like to invite Bapak Efransyah, Senior Advisor, Ministry of Environment of Republic of Indonesia, to kindly share his reflection. Bapak Efransyah, The floor is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I've been directed to face the camera over there. Let me greet first the High Office of the Management. Thank you for inviting us. And then my colleague from the Ministry of Forestry, as well as from the Environment, if any. And then another colleague from the government offices, such as BRIN, Association, and all APP friends are here, seems to be. I use this note because I thought the intervention will be in Bahasa. So allow me to jot this note, and then the idea is to remind us that sustainability is a long journey. And somehow today, grateful and congratulations, we have just arrived in a significant milestone. So that's all what I'm talking about. If we recall, the idea of corporate sustainability has evolved dramatically in 70s, 80s. But for many of you, perhaps it's just about compliance and risk avoidance at that time. Focus much on pollution control. By 90s, 2000, the term CSR emerged, corporate social responsibility. This is just to recall the journey that we have been together up to this 7 point. Let me tell you, I'm already 70 years old, and I keep talking the same thing, sustainability. Just to describe that this is a very long journey. So companies are expected to give back through philanthropy, community program, contribution. So sustainability rather sounds peripheral. In 2010s, sustainability became more strategic, linked to efficiency, risk management, and innovation. There we heard the term of triple bottom line. The last P is profit. Yeah, we are not ashamed to tell people that we are chasing it, profit, at that time. And I recognize there's no longer profit there, and it has been somehow reformed into much more broader human context as value chain. You still have forests in the core pillars of the forest positive launch today, and then people and value chain. So since 2015, you have this ESG integration, where people talk about Paris Agreement, SDG. It made sustainability inseparable from financial performance. It just happened that I'm lucky sitting next to Ibu Mega this morning. And looking forward to 2030s, where we are about now to move on. They bring new challenges and opportunities. You are all aware that today we can no longer run. Investors and regulators demand disclosures, net zero pledge, and circular economy model. So sustainability seems now a license to operate. So you see how it's moved, the term sustainability. So now, bringing new challenges and opportunities, biodiversity is rising alongside climate in the global agenda. And a just transition is vital to ensure fairness. And technology, from AI to satellite monitoring, will transform how we measure progress. So in this context, I would personally welcome, because the government already officially welcomed in the video remark, this company, APP, for embracing the forest positive policy, moving beyond zero deforestation towards actively restoring and regenerating forest landscape, supporting local and indigenous communities, and strengthening biodiversity. For Indonesia, at the national level, such policy, I'd like to underline, would align corporate action with IBSEP framework, IBSAP framework. I would expect in 1 month time, there will be a new PP about IBSAP, which has been launched last year in August. IBSAP is Indonesia Biodiversity Strategic and Action Plan Framework as the derivative of CBD, Convention on Biodiversity. So, the company will reinforce national and climate biodiversity targets, unlock opportunities in carbon credit and biodiversity credit as well in the market, and ensure forests remain the cornerstones of both ecological resilience and economic prosperity. I'm about to end. To thrive, business must embed sustainability in core strategy. Please kindly check APP Vision 2020 Sustainability Roadmap. Maybe we should revamp or re-energize that to align with what we have committed to the public now. It's becoming very important. So, and we can no longer talk just qualitative. We need to be quantitative. It's just like business. Quantitative is very important, ya. Cuan kan penting. Berapa? So then we need to adopt clear, measurable targets. Maybe sometimes because business not so good, the target can be missed. We should have the target. It's just like normal business. Anything can be missed, or less, or more. So, the private sector can turn sustainability and forest positive action from just in the old time obligation into a pathway to resilience and a long-term growth, as was underlined by Ibu Elim tadi. Overall, I think we should together welcome this forest positive policy. And we noted these 3 core pillars of forest, people, value chain. And we welcome, today I'm about to learn the term Regenesis. It means, if I check Google, it's a rebirth of ecosystem in this context. So, stopping deforestation is not the only stopping there, but bringing degraded forests back to life. I think it makes the terms clearer. And restoring ecological function and reviving biodiversity. So finally, it is more than appropriate that the DG, my colleague, as FM, Sustainable Forest Management, commended this initiative and raised expectation to APP to be the prime mover for this business sector. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Efransia.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Prof.
Thank you, thank you. I just talking with Pak Tony from Sarawak. First of all, thank you for inviting me to say a few words, and especially this morning because I have to leave earlier. So then I think that my former student, in fact, that asking me to say something. By the way, so congratulations for IPP for making this a new policy, and I think it's quite very impressive with the commitment that we already hear, everybody. I like to say something about my activity and maybe related to these activities. Currently, I am a co-chair of the Science Panel for Borneo. So this is under the UN SDSN. So UN SDSN has 3 science panels in the world. One is the Science Panel for Amazon. It's already 4 years right now in making. Then Science Panel for Congo, Africa. It's about 2-3 years ago. And Science Panel for Borneo is just launching last year at Azerbaijan during the COP30. So my reflection is that this is really a good opportunity because I think this year we're going to submit our results of the 120 people from Indonesia, Sarawak, and Brunei working together for almost 1 year, trying to understand the science in Borneo. It's 7 clusters, including the flora, fauna, agriculture, economy, social, geology, waters, and those are really related to what the commitment from APP. Hopefully that by then we can understand how that related between the science within the water, forests, flora, fauna, and communities, and also, of course, the government policy. So that's really important. I think by then, hopefully Bu Elim was mentioning about the orangutan in Borneo. So that's my favorite, my research mostly on that. I hope that by then, I think there is going to be collaboration between private sector, scientists, government, NGO, and others. How do we work and the islands, either Sumatra and Borneo, to work collaboratively, sustainably, so that the future will not bleak. We'll not say that we are going to sink, but we're going to flourish. So again, congratulations. Hopefully that the science panel for Borneo will help. How do we tackle the deforestation currently really high? How do we work with community? How do we work with the private sector and collaboration, the whole stakeholders together? Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Bu Elim.
Thank you so much, Prof. Jatna Supriyatna. He is a chairman of the Research Center for Climate Change, University of Indonesia. Now I see Pak Purwanto here on this table. I used to work with him during the Man on the Biosphere, ya Pak. Now you moved to the brain, so I think you would like to have like a few words, Pak, because we don't have so much time. Okay, please, Pak Purwanto.
Terima kasih. Pertama saya ucapkan selamat Ibu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There are several important points to note from APP Forest Positive Policy Launch. First, clarity is needed regarding the key difference between this new policy and the 2013 forest conservation policy. APP need to ensure that the commitment it is conveyed can be measured, verified, and independently monitored. And whether there are more concrete short-term target beyond the 2030 target. Regarding the forest, Ibu Elim mentioned that the target is 1 million hectare for conservation and restoration, and what indicator of success will be used. For the people pillar, focus can be placed on how APP guarantee the right of indigenous local community, what form its planned inclusive development will take, and whether it is transparent grievance mechanism is in place for the community. For the value chain pillar, APP can ensure supply compliant, plan for implementing a traceability system, and how customers will be involved in the sustainable value chain. Furthermore, regarding the launch event, it is also important to have concrete target to achieve and how APP plan to maintain momentum after the event concludes. In terms of the input, there are several suggestions that can be made. APP should prepare clear baseline data and indicators so the public can be assessed achievement over time, involving the local community, NGO, and academic from the early stage is crucial to strengthen the credibility of this policy. An annual public reporting mechanism verified by a third party will also help ensure transparency. This policy will impacting in its contribution to the national volume net sink 2030 target and the sustainable development goal. After launch, APP is also advised to prepare a conscious action plan that can be announced to the public as concrete step for implementation. Finally, communication regarding this policy need to be consistent and supported by concrete evidence and success story for the field. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Purwanto, for a few words. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, next to Pak Purwanto, there is a Secretary General of APHI, Pak Purwadi, and also the Chairman of APKI, and also my beloved Bu Dia Suradireja. And I would like to invite, last but not least, Ibu Ratnasari from UNDP. Maybe you can give a few words, Bu, but not too long. Thank you, Bu Ratna.
Thank you. So I would like to, it's to be honored and congratulate to APP, the Forest Positive Policy undercomes APP Group's commitment to embed responsible forestry and sustainability across all aspects of your business. Built around three pillars, interconnected. It's not one single formula or pillars to be goes alone. The policy provides a comprehensive framework to advance environmental, social, and economic goals in mutually reinforcing way, ensuring the economic growth, community empowerment, and ecological resilience are inseparably linked. To strengthen the impact and accountability, clear key performance indicator or KPI should develop and published to make progress transparent and measurable. In first pillar on forest, the percentage forest cover enhancements and restored ecosystem and biodiversity conservation for sure. And the second pillars is on peoples, how the company could share of local communities and engage inclusive on development program, especially how to support the public-private community partnership, what Ibu Eli mentioned before. And then the last, for people, I would like to be insert on the company itself. So number of workers completing fair labor practice training, hopefully, and on capacity building. And the last pillars for value chains in line for government policy to engage and encourage on food systems, right? So the president is always mentioning on this as part of the integrated landscape management, while in terms of the percentage of suppliers can be audited for responsible sourcing. Year-over-year reduction in carbon footprints across supply chains. All commitment to nationally and globally under those pillars will undergo independent with the third-party validations. UNDP, Indonesia, is very keen to collaborate and engage the process. The last but not the least, let me quote of today's event, where opportunities meet sustainability, collaboration for commodity, community, and conservation. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Ratna. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I see Bapak Bustar Maitar. So maybe I think I would like to request Bapak Bustar Maitar, the environment in climate change activities, and he was a former Greenpeace activist. Please, could you give some words?
Yeah.
Thank you, Pak.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak
Actually,
Bustar.
I'm not in the. Basically, I insist to
But
be in the list.
but I see you, Pak.
Yeah.
Please, thank
so,
you.
Thank you very much. I would like to congratulate APP for this new policy. I would say Regenesis, yeah, policy. It's almost 12 years since 2013. I was very much involved together with my colleague here to make 2013 NDPA policies happening, and it's not easy. I can tell you, it's not easy. It's very hard, yeah, to make APP smooth and finally smooth in the policy. So it's not as nice like just blah blah blah. Yeah, I think I appreciate my APP's colleague and Sinarmas in general patient also every time they show me that time. I think I would like to comment a couple of things, maybe two key things what I saw in this new policy. I think, and this is something need to be make it very, very clear to the public, because otherwise there will be a big question on APP sustainability policy. Especially one is to moving the cut-off date from the 2013 to 2020. So what's happening in between? I mean, is there deforestation is involved or what? I mean, this is something is really crucial, yeah? It's really crucial. I think also the percentage, but also the number, how much restoration has been done by APP so far, that is need to be said very loudly and very clear, yeah? Since 2016, I left my organization, previous organization. I never visit the plantation, so I don't know is there any trees, natural forest growing or things like that. But this is something need to be showcased strongly and openly to the public. So because since the commitment that APP been made in 2013, what I believe also, what I know also, what APP is doing is beyond business as usual. And then this is something that we would like to see also should be beyond business as usual. Including the new commitment of $30 million a year. I think this is bold commitment, but also need to be see also what's happening in the 50 million commitment that is been pledged by APP before. This is something need to be clearly indicate to the public so people know what is been progressing so far. So I think that's two things that I would like to convey here before the next session, because this is something is really important. It's really important, and especially to maintain what we have left in Sumatra and Kalimantan. So I stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Bustar. Thank you once again. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the panel discussion and Q&A session, which will explore the opportunities and challenges of implementing APP's forest positive policy. It is my honor to introduce our moderator, Mr. Pat Venditti, Director RBG and former Global Head of Forest at Greenpeace. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now hand over the panel discussion to Mr. Pat Venditti.
All right, well, thank you and welcome everyone. I hope you had a good refreshment during the break. And just to introduce myself and the panel, my name's Pat Venditti. I'm the Director of Nature and Land Use at Robertsbridge. We're a global sustainability consultancy and have worked with APP for many years. As was previously mentioned, I was the Director of the Global Forest Campaign at Greenpeace for around a decade, including in 2013 when the forest conservation policy was announced. So it's exciting to be here today. Obviously, as has been mentioned today, that was a landmark moment, and it's good to be here today on what I'm confident will be another landmark moment for APP and for efforts to restore and conserve forests here in Indonesia and globally. And just to my left, the panel, I just wanted to quickly introduce them. I know their names were introduced earlier. But we have Dito Bayunanda, the CEO of World Wild Fund for Nature, WWF. We have Rizal Algamar, who is currently the Southeast Asia Regional Director for the Tropical Forest Alliance. Sarah Noviatny, who is the head of ESG and compliance for APP, and Tony Sebastian, who is an independent Chief Sustainability Advisor to APP. So thank you very much for your being here today and for your time. And really what we wanted to do was have a bit more of an open discussion about the policy and reflections on the policy moving forward from an array of stakeholders beyond who you've heard earlier in the morning. So I've got some questions that we prepared for everyone. And I guess the first question that I would have for Tony, Dito, and Rizal in particular, looking at it a bit more from the outside, is listening to what you've heard this morning. What are your initial reactions to the FPP and to APP's announcement of Regenesis? So is there anyone who would like to take that question first? Rizal, you're looking right at me, so I'll put you on the spot there.
Looking at Dito. All right, thank you. Yeah, I think, so first of all, congratulations to APP. I think there was a, like you said, it's a landmark moment. Yeah, it's a strategic inflection point. We're moving beyond do no harm compliance, which is already good, but moving forward towards forest positive ambition that actively restores ecosystems, forest ecosystems, and empowering communities, and as well as embedding sustainability across the value chains. Yeah, and also I look at it also, it's a convergence. Yeah, between science-based targets, policy coherence, as well as responsible sourcing. So I think those three things really matters. So congratulations on that. The vision is very ambitious. 1 million hectares protecting, conserving, and restoring. It's huge. Yeah. But its credibility will depend on transparent monitoring, yeah, to the public of the forest restorations, and also the meaningful engagement of the communities, those 459 villages and the broader communities beyond APP, as well as the system-wide traceability, as well as supplier accountability, yeah, to make sure that this commitment, which is this landmark moment, can be really operationalized really well, yeah, and visible to the public, yeah. So, thank you.
That's great. Dito, do you have anything to reflect on?
Thank you. And for me, I mean, I've been working on this issue since 2011. So I was around in 2013, I was around in 2015 when the original pledge for 1 million was made. And so I come here in the context that, in my mind, what is different, right? What is different this time around? And there's two things that actually give me more optimism. One is that it was clearly mentioned in Ibu Elim's presentation that this will be a process that will be aligned with the FSC remedy. Because I know that the FSC remedy would ensure that all stakeholders will be involved, it will be a transparent process, it will be a process that is independently verified. So that gives me more confidence. The other one is it went pretty fast, but I did see that there was a pledge for funding, which is basically very important because we all know that this process is not going to be cheap. On the ground, it's not going to be an easy process as well. For many of us that's been working on conservation and working on social issues, we all know that conservation is a long game. Conservation is a complex issue in Indonesia, especially in places like Sumatra, where you have many communities present on the ground. And it gives me more optimism that that APP is willing to put their money where their mouth is. So I really do want to see this process, this policy to be successful and not something just on paper. And so from our side, I think we're willing to continue to engage to ensure that. So thank you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both. So, Pak Tony, just hearing some of what has already been said, and maybe some of the earlier comments from the floor, it'd be interesting to get your reaction, but also like what you see as some of the challenges that are going to be in front of APP moving from taking this off the paper into the forest and into communities.
Thank you, Pat. My reaction is from a slightly different point of view, a slightly different place from my two colleagues. A policy like this does not get written by a switch. Switch it on, policy is there. It doesn't happen that way, especially with a very large company like this. A policy requires a decision to write a policy. It requires informing and working through changes throughout the governance and all the operational mechanisms. It takes a process that is a very, very large footprint across the landscape. Many, many different suppliers, many, many different companies who all need to change something in order for this policy to work. And if you understand this process, you realize that this launch today, when this policy becomes public, it is a 2.5-year process. It has taken this company and so many of its staff, its leaders, its consultants, its partners, and all that through a whole process. It had input into this policy from many, many different countries, many different parts of the world, experts, people who know the systems, who know policy writing. You know, it came from all over the different places. It wasn't just a switch. So this process has changed the company already. And this is what sustainability is all about. It is about making things better. So it's not only, today it's not just a result of a big change in so many things in the company. It is also the start of many other processes which get initiated today. Right down to suppliers, different companies, new companies coming into a supplier network. They're all going to have to implement this policy. They're all going to need to start to do something different. And this is what the world wants. We want companies to become better. And this policy is a very, very good start. And I really congratulate the company. And it's been my honor to be part of this 2.5-year process.
Thank you, thank you. And if you look at like what's going to be difficult and what the challenges are going to be, does anything come immediately to mind for you?
Well, first, anytime you're asked to do something different, it's not easy. Yeah, you have to change there's a different protocol, there's a different SOP, there's a different need for different expertise which you did not have before. You need to form partnerships with people who may not be all that happy to have a partnership with you. Or you need to have other companies to work with who you now have different systems in place. And they say, but we didn't do this before. They say, yeah, but we'd have to do this now. We have a different system to assess suppliers. We have different remedy requirements. So when you put all of this together, it's changing mindsets, it's changing comfort zones, and really plotting a new way forward. And that's not an easy thing to do. So I see that as a very, very big challenge going forward. But a challenge is not a reason not to do it. Yeah? This is precisely why you set a policy in place, it guides you, it provides you direction, and it provides all your partners, even the naysayers, the people who criticize you, they all have something to work with. There's something to set a series of actions and a point of direction. That's what a company like APP should be doing as a leader in the industry.
I see Bu Sarah nodding, so I can see you can embrace some of those challenges, certainly agree with some of them. Do you see any challenges going ahead?
Yeah, maybe I would like to share also our challenges during the pace of establish this new journey or new policy. The biggest challenges was the discussion of the new policy should represent the FGP that already set in our daily activities in APP for over a decade. So it was time for us to understand that we need to enhance or we need to update and strengthen our policy, our ambitions in this sustainability journey. So now currently we bring it to the one banner of Regenesis, but we wanted to still continue the direction and also the value of forest conservation policy. And then it is a long journey also to establish this new policy with very much consultation internally and externally, including Pak Tony as our independent sustainability advisor. So we know that this new policy was toward doing more good rather than the commitment was set decade ago that to do no harm. So we carefully review our policy, then we benchmark ourselves with the global recognized standard framework, including the FSC remedy framework, and also we benchmarking ourselves, then we identified the areas that we could strengthen our position with this new journey. Thank you.
Great, thank you, thank you. So, Pak Rizal and Pak Dito, I guess you've been involved in conservation in Indonesia for, quite a long time and have a lot of experience with it. Does what Pak Tony and Bu Sarah said around some of the challenges resonate with you? Do you have anything to add in? And I guess more importantly, what conditions do you think will help this policy to succeed? So, what are the things that either need to happen externally or need to be done by APP to really make this policy deliver on what's on the tin, I guess we would say in the UK?
I think definitely it resonates in what Pak Tony and Busera mentioned. So this is really a large-scale initiatives, yeah, which we all know you cannot do it alone. You need partners, yeah. And I think what Pak Tony mentioned is the mindset shift that needs to happen. We need to really work together with our partners. But before that, I think the process you mentioned, it's 2.5 years, yeah? So I think with that 2.5 years, I think it should be already internalized within the company. And that will make this initiative stronger when you work together with the external stakeholders, yeah? Because you yourself believe in it, you will be able to do it, and you have the tools, the approaches to be able to work on it, yeah? So once you have that, then it's the enabling conditions inside the company is already available. Then you need to work with the partners to make sure that we can deliver this together, yeah? So it takes a collective effort. It's not going to be individual. And you have the approach and system to be able to do that, yeah. But we need to keep in mind, that a company this big, always, everybody has high expectation. They want to see visible results as soon as possible. We need to understand that this is a journey. Yeah? You cannot see the results tomorrow or within the next year. Yeah? So how do you communicate this so that you manage those expectations from the public? Yeah? Public regulators, your customers, your other NGOs and so forth. Yeah? I think that's one critical aspect that we need to consider going forward. Thanks.
Dito, do you have anything to add, please?
Yeah. I've worked with several companies on this journey for sustainability, for FSC and sometimes for other standards as well. And I'm glad, we have top management here because it really does start from the top. It really does start from the top. And it will need, a different mindset in the sense that the structure of the company itself has to mirror the goals of this sustainability. So it cannot be that this policy or this sustainability is maybe just the responsibility of the sustainability division. It has to be all of all of the organization within the company has to embrace it. This is the new business as usual. It cannot be just so this term that going beyond business as usual. No, this is the new business as usual, and that has to be really embedded within the whole corporation, within the whole company, because it's not easy, and always the people, the staff, they have to be reminded that this is the new goal. People have to fall in. I'm sure that it will not be, smooth sailing all the way, but definitely it does need, top management, the policy of the top management, the willingness of the owners, and the understanding that this is part of the journey. So I would be interested to see how that is translated into the KPIs of people within the company, how that could be measured, how that could become part of the evaluation of the organization, of the people working in the organization as well. Because otherwise it's not going to work, right? Even in companies that are much, much smaller than APP, unless you do that, it's not going to work. So I can imagine that with APP, you have to do that. So that's part of has to be part of the new DNA of APP. Otherwise, it's going to be treated as a project. It's going to be treated as something, oh, this is not me, this is sustainability's job to do. No, it's everyone's job. And that way, I think that way you have hope of succeeding. Now that's internally. Externally, it's a monumental effort that needs to be taken. And I have to say, you're not going to be able to do it alone. So always there are other actors out there, CSO, government. From what I'm hearing this morning, seems like the government is very much aligned to these goals. I would say much better than the previous one. But so take advantage of that, and also and do seek out other people that are willing to help. I'm sure there are many, because the challenges are quite great. Thank you.
Before you put your mic down, if I can follow that question up with one other, speaking about bringing others along and whatnot, and the support that APP will not be able to do this on their own. How can WWF, for example, or other organizations working in conservation help companies like APP deliver on these very ambitious commitments and targets?
Okay. Okay. So, as I said, one of the reasons why I think WWF has more confidence this time around, is because of the FSC remedy framework. It gives a framework of how measuring like past harm, how stakeholders could be consulted, FPIC, and also how you would actually measure success of the restoration and the conservation. I think that's where our strong suit is actually, on helping on the conservation and the restoration. We have a lot of experience on identifying and even managing high conservation value. We're not experts on social, so you probably do need other people as well on social. But we have a lot of experience of actual restoration, of actual conservation, of actual species management. And from our side, we're only too happy if anyone wants to do good to give them the inputs and advice, and maybe even beyond that. And I think using that platform, that FSC, because that's a common goal for many organizations, that could be the what do you call it? To tie everyone, the unifier. So I hope WWF can be a catalyst in this as well, in moving this policy or the intention of doing the restoration and the conservation going forward. So yeah, I think we could be that critical friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Paktito. So I think, Busara, we've heard a bit about the challenges, from other panelists that APP will be facing. To your mind, what does successful implementation of the policy look within the company in practical terms?
Yeah, thank you, Pat. As all panelists already mentioned, that this work, this journey cannot be achieved alone by APP. So of course, the collaboration and the partnership are vital in this achieving our goals. So in these terms, APP needs to work collaboratively with the stakeholders in the national, local, and also in the provincial level. So when Ibu Elim already mentioned about the specific landscape that we are targeting, of course, this specific landscape will have a unique, specific characteristic. So we need to have the collaboration actively with the stakeholders. And of course, to look at this success, we need the strong collaborative action with the stakeholders, with the specific target of the landscape, and of course, more effort to do that, and we need to really collaborate. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. We would like to have some time for any questions from the audience, so I think I'm going to just ask a final question in two parts to the panel. The first is, if you had one piece of advice for APP and the team delivering this policy over the next few years, what would that piece of advice be? And then in the forest, what will this look like in 5 years? So maybe, Pak Tony, I'll come to you first.
I'm not going to answer your question.
No.
I think I'd like to take this opportunity to speak out to the people who would make this work. Right? APP needs to provide incentives. Show success and partners will come. If you do not, then people will only criticize. So I'd like to speak to why this is called a forest positive policy, and what that should mean to anybody and everybody who looks at this company or looks at any other company in this industry. Whether you look at it positively or critically, we cannot continue to be negative. This policy says forest positive. This is a positive move by a company that has taken a lot of flack. Over the years, it has been criticized, and nobody, or it seems like people say that a company will never change. Well, I would like to say this. For anything to work right now, the door is open. You can either stand outside and shut that door and say, you're bad. I stand on the negative side, and I will not work with you. The other side are the people, like many of us in the room here today, who will walk through that door and say, let's do something positive. Let's do something positive for the industry, for forests, for wildlife, for people, and for the countries that depend on the forest industry out there. That's to me, the most important thing, and I think it is the linchpin upon which this policy is based on, and is the ask. It is the ask out there that, yes, we don't do it together, the company will not do it together, and nobody else will do it together, do it alone. Everybody will have to do it together. So be positive, walk with us.
Thank you, thank you. Pak Rizal, what advice would you have for Bu Sarah and the others who are tasked with making this happen?
A lot of companies, previously they've made commitments, and it's all about numbers, the numbers of hectares, yeah. So my advice is that this is not just about area targets, the number of hectares. It's really about the health of the ecosystem within those forests and the communities that surrounds it, yeah. So we need to really engage early, meaningfully with all those communities around us, with the NGOs, the partners, the local leaders, yeah. Because really legitimacy is really rooted, yeah, in inclusion and shared priorities and ownerships with those communities, yeah. So that's my advice.
Thank you very much. And Pak Tito, I'll leave the last answer with you before we go to the floor. What advice would you have for you've already given some advice, but do you have any additional advice? Yeah.
You should be giving advice to yourself. So I think there's many skeptics out there of this, and rightly so. And I think implementation on the field, on the ground, is key. And I would advise, because not everything has to be, go after the most difficult. There are maybe, low-hanging fruit out there that APP can immediately work on, so that in 1 year time, or maybe less, we can already start seeing the difference in the field, because that's the key. Just to mirror, I think Tony said that. I mean, people, seeing is believing, and I think we do understand that it's not going to be, everything's not going to be nice and dandy overnight. But I'm pretty sure there are places where it's a low-hanging fruit. Maybe it's areas within your own concession. Maybe those areas that are, very important habitats where you have, control over. You can start there, and that would show, not just to stakeholders but to the world, that you mean business. This is different, and so that would be my suggestion, and that builds momentum. That builds momentum, and you need momentum, not just for externally but internally as well. And you can build on that. So that's my advice. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. We have a few minutes for questions from the audience. So I'm just wondering if there are any questions for the panel that people would like to ask. And maybe just raise your hand if so, and I believe someone will bring you a microphone. If not, I have a whole list of questions, but we might give the panel a break as well. Let's see. Okay, well, if there's no questions, I'll just ask one final question to you all, which I already asked and no one answered. I think we've heard a lot about partnerships. We've heard a lot about the challenges that are coming. We've also heard a lot about how this is built off earlier foundations. So, in my view, and having been involved in this campaign for many years previously, it feels like these are good foundations for the future. So maybe what I would ask you each to do is just in a few words, give us your vision of what success looks like, say, in 5 years' time. Like what's it going to look like in the landscapes that are targeted? How? Oh, we have pardon me. Before we get there, we have an online question.
From here. Sorry, Pat. The question is from here.
Yes, please. Okay.
Okay,
please.
There's one question from our online audience. So, how are lessons of past efforts integrate in the current policy?
So, Busera, that sounds like a question you're best positioned to answer.
Thank you for the question online. Okay. As we mentioned already, that this a decade policy that implemented in our operation. So we have learned a lot of things. So based on that learnings, we can establish or we can produce this new policy that need to be implemented with the collaboration and partnership. So as we have the 3 pillars previously about the production, forest, and the people, of course, our goals that already established previously, we learned that some activities have been done, have been achieved, as Bu Elim already presenting this morning, but some initiatives still need improvement. So that's why we learn from that, we establish this new policy, we improve our activities, our initiative to more better in the future.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have any other questions online? I think we might have time for one more if there is.
No, but there's a comment also. So maybe better articulate incentives to existing forestry practices for stakeholders like REDD. There's the comments.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and that will, I'm sure, be taken into consideration by APP. So, so just to finish then, I guess we want to finish hopefully on a positive, forest positive note. Tony, what does it look like for you in 5 years' time? Other than powered up mics.
Hello.
Perfect.
5 years is a good enough period. The outcomes on the ground, social outcomes, forest outcomes, wildlife outcomes, ecological outcomes like rivers are clearer, fisheries are better, forests are thriving, prey species are thriving. These will ultimately sell your policy. And it's actually a very simple ask. It's the processes that are difficult, but the objectives of ecological outcomes is quite straightforward. And I think in a positive light, very, very achievable.
Great, thank you, thank you. Dito, if you were to say 5 years from now, what does this look like?
Hopefully, in 5 years, that we will see already areas restored, communities happy in the sense that they are getting more benefits or even being remediated, and that APP becomes a true champion for sustainability and for forest positive. I think the world does need champions for environment, for climate, for biodiversity, and within 5 years, if those the signs, I'm not saying that it's a long haul. The signs are there, the movements are there, that we are actually seeing implementation on the ground, and we're able to quantify them even. How the increase of income for communities, the increase of biodiversity. Because in the end of the day, we do need to be able to quantify and be specific. So I think within 5 years is going to be we'll be able to see tangible results by then. Not completely finished. I'm quite realistic that this is not going to be it's not going to be accomplished in 5 years. But in 5 years, there's stories that can be told and tangible proof that things are making APP is making a difference.
Rizal, what is your vision? And then I'll let Busara end.
Yeah, I think it's the same. 5 years, we'd like to see at the end, it's about increased forest cover. Because it's a huge initiative, and we'd like to see that. And as well as the improved biodiversity health of the ecosystem surrounding the APP concessions. Yeah. But all of those is important, but to me, I think most important to sustain this initiative. Yeah. We'd like to see that communities are thriving. Those communities surrounding APP concessions needs that we need to prove that they are thriving together with the company. Yeah. Thanks.
Great, thank you, thank you. Sarah.
Yeah, from APP perspective, of course, we would like to show our realization in the initiative of the restoration and conservation in the landscape. And also, we would like to have broad collaboration in the conservation and the restoration efforts. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for your very thoughtful responses. Obviously, there is much work to do, but perhaps this is the start of the championship run, as you're saying, Dito. So I'd like to thank all of our panelists for their words and thinking. So maybe we can just give them a bit of applause. And then I believe we're handing it back to the next bit.
Yes, thank you, Pat. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we extend our sincere appreciation to all our distinguished panelists, Pak Dito, Pak Rizal, Pak Tony, and Bu Sera, and of course participants for such a thoughtful and engagement discussion. Your insights have greatly enriched today's program and underscore the importance of collaboration in advancing sustainability and responsible forest management. Yeah, and after this, the Salam Lestari style. Yeah, Salam Lestari, L, Lestari, sustainable. Okay, thank you so much, Pat, and all the distinguished panelists, Pak Dito, Pak Rizal, Pak Tony, and Bu Sera. Thank you so much for outstanding contribution, feedback, and suggestion. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to formally conclude today's proceeding, it is now my privilege to respectfully invite Mr. Bernard Tan to back to the stage to deliver his concluding remarks. Mr. Bernard, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you so much. As we close today's event, I want to thank all of you for joining us at this pivotal moment of APP's history. I sincerely want to thank the panel members for their thoughtful discussion. So Pak Dito, Pak Tony, Pak Rizal, Bu Sera, thank you so much. I've heard a couple of takeaways that are very important. Obviously, the importance of actually getting early success, I think is important. The importance of actually working with partners. I also got that very, very quickly, right? And certainly, you know, at the end of the day, that this will be a long journey and something that requires persistence. There'll be up and down, but no doubt, if we keep our minds to it, we can do something magical. Now, the commitment under Regenesis to restore 1 million hectares of landscape, backed by $30 million annually over the next decade, is one of the most ambitious in Indonesia and globally. Our goal is clear, is to have positive outcomes for forests, biodiversity, people, and climate. And we do this while running a successful business. They both need to go together. And we know we cannot do this alone. So this is a call for all to join us. Together we can set the new standard of what sustainability means in practice and show that business can be a force for good. On behalf of APP and all the crew that have made this event happen, thank you. Thank you for your time, your support, and commitment for building a forest positive future together. And I look forward to meeting all of you outside at lunch. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Bernard.